Now, you've clicked on this video and may be thinking that we've run out of ideas. In all actuality, we haven't. I just wanted to do an impromptu sort of video.
It's thanks to AI. That's how we got the idea.
No, I would never use AI. God, no. Maybe to like do my dishes.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, write scripts. No, I'm kidding.
No. Bad. We're talking about movies that won you over, specifically movies that probably within the first 30 minutes are just like, whatever. But by then you're like all in, loving it. The ending's great. The acting's great.
I love those movies. That's always a good feeling.
Yeah, and it happens more than you think.
It does.
Because, I mean, Zach didn't put this, he's not going to talk about this, but he talked about how going into John Wick, he wasn't really a fan, but then he came out loving it.
Like I was expecting it to be awful schlock, which I'm fine with, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously turned into this giant blockbuster series. And then I guess they were about to put it on straight to DVD, and some producer was like, genius, whoever that was. Thank you.
I'll start us off. I'm going to talk about The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh. Samuel
Jackson, Gina Davis. Gina Davis plays a housewife who basically is just like, the traditional, like, the stereotypical mom role back from the 90s. She gets a concussion, gets a little CTE, realizes she's like this killer assassin spy. Written by Shane Black, who you know.
I did not know that part.
Did all the Lethal Weapons and
Nice Guys.
Kiss Kiss Goodnight. All these good, like, very comedic, but also great movies. This is comedic, kinda. It's directed by Rennie Harlan, who basically just does action movies. But this is like one of his, like, it's perhaps his best movie. And it's like the first 15 or 20 minutes, it's setting up everything. So it is intentionally kind of boring. And then once she gets the concussion, everything goes haywire. Brian Cox is in this before anyone even knew who he was.
This is pre-Super Troopers too, like way back when.
So it's just very fun. Gina Davis plays it really well. She like dyes her hair at some point. The set pieces in this are really great. It's one of Sam Jackson's best roles. And I know everyone thinks of Pulp Fiction and Shaft and a bunch of other stuff and Jackie Brown. But this, I would say, might be better than those because I think he gets a chance to basically act. In Quentin Tarantino movies, he's usually just cussing.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Which he's good at, yes. Which is why you cast him. But I think it's up there with either Long Kiss Goodnight or Django as his best performance. So
man, he should have got an Oscar for Django. But Long Kiss Goodnight, great film.
Yes.
I went with also an action movie, Jack Reacher. This movie came out in 2012, and it was the first Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise production, and I guess it's based off of a popular book series.
A very popular.
Very popular. I knew nothing about it. I just went in. I was like, Tom Cruise action movie, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the movie went to the chase scenes, and then it was incredible. Like there's no music. It's just all car noises and Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise. It is exciting. Like this movie was shocking how good it was.
Yeah.
Isn't Werner Herzog the villain?
Werner Herzog is a villain that does nothing.
Yeah, he's just he's himself, and he just kind of sits in a room and then dies at the end.
Yes, I would 100% agree with you because apparently I guess they've turned it into a Prime TV show.
Yes, and apparently it's closer to the book. I know nothing.
But a lot of people went in like, I'm going to hate this because it's not anything like the book, and they all came out like, actually.
I enjoyed that a lot. And then they're doing Mission Impossible together, and they are inseparable because I think he's made most of Tom Cruise's movies since.
Also, they made a sequel, which was not good.
Trash. It was awful. I don't know what happened. Was it also Christopher McQuarrie?
I can't remember.
I don't either.
They might have passed the baton or something.
They must have, because it felt like a different movie. Like it's what I was expecting the first one to be.
Yeah.
Is the second one.
Well, with action movies and its sequels, you usually can't recapture that feeling. John Wick has.
John Wick has. And the other movie I'm going to talk about.
Now, my next pick, also from the 90s, is the Blair Witch Project, which is on everyone's mind right now because Halloween's right around the corner.
It is. It's a classic.
And everyone's trying to do found footage in a different way, like it seems in the last few years.
It's cheap.
Yeah. So, but this was the first. Obviously, everyone thought it was real because the marketing, they just decided like, oh, we're 3 no-name actors. Might as well just go in and in and
pretend it's real. And then it was one of the first like viral campaigns too, and on the internet, viral campaigns.
And I was in 8th grade when this movie came out, so the target audience was me.
You.
But it was funny because I was in rural Arkansas, so we didn't get it until it was on video. But a lot of the kids still thought it was real. And most of them didn't watch like Entertainment Tonight or any of these shows.
Wouldn't picture that in rural Arkansas.
But I did.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was fake. But when I still watched it knowing it was fake, it's still gripping.
Oh, man.
It's just like, but it's like a build. It's a building up and it ends ambiguously. And you're just like, okay, I want more. And then they went some other way with it and it was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awful. But I didn't see this movie until I was in high school, which was like 6 years after it came out, maybe 7, 8. So obviously I knew it was fake, but it's still like it's run and gun, it's guerrilla filmmaking, and it's cheap, and it's just so well made, and it holds up too.
It makes you believe that it's actually happening.
Yeah, it's like it was one of the first found footage films, and probably still the best.
Oh, other than like Wreck, I don't know if you've seen Wreck.
Mm-mm.
Which is like, well, they've remade it into American version. Basically, it's a zombie movie, and it really feels like similar to Blair Witch.
I'm going comedic in my second one. Surprise, surprise. 21 Jump Street. This was the first live-action movie by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who were no names not really no names, but they were mainly animation at the time. Got with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum to make a remake of a 80s show that was the thing in like the early 2010s. What do we call that? Double aughts?
The tens.
Tens?
We'll call it the tens.
Of the tens. Just reboot. I mean, we're still in that, but like it was really big in 2012 when this came out. And so I went in going like, that's another one of these, but I like Jonah Hill, so whatever. That didn't age well. But you go in and this movie is freaking funny. Like it is so good. Like it's not really going with the rules of this episode where it's like 30 minutes in, then you're hooked. I was hooked immediately because I was in high school at the time, and it's making fun of the tropes from the 80s of the show, and putting a spin on it. Baby Brie Larson is in it. Dave Franco is in it. Rob Riggle is hilarious in it, and then Johnny Depp reprises his role. Yes. It has all the ingredients of what all of them have, but this is the best reboot I can think of. Yeah. And then the sequel makes fun of sequel reboots. Yeah. And it's just as good, if not better.
And they were going to do a crossover at some point.
With Men in Black.
With Men in Black, but that never happened. But this also came out around the same time. They did like a few years prior, they did Starsky and Hutch. Yep. Did Chips. So
that one bombed.
Those 2 movies I remember specifically because they were trying to recapture the feeling of those movies from those shows from the 70s, whereas 21 Jump Street was like, we're not anything like that movie. Nope. We're gonna make fun of that show. Mm-hmm. We're gonna bury it into the ground.
And they did, and made a great movie out of it. And also, I'm pretty sure this was the first one where Channing Tatum, like he was going from rom-com guy to leading man guy who can do anything.
And it worked.
And it worked, man. That's great.
And then he shows up and this is the end in the most unexpected way. But that's our list. It's a short one. I just thought we'd have a little fun here. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of movies that come to my mind thinking about. It's mostly action movies.
Yeah, because those are probably action or horror, where it's like you go in expecting like it's probably gonna be trash, but I like it,
and it turns out good. Yeah. One that comes to mind that is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is Commando. Oh, and that's one that immediately wins you over because
they, if I remember right, they marketed it as just another Schwarzenegger movie, but it is spoofing those movies and being great at it.
And he's carrying a log. His daughter gets kidnapped. Alyssa Milano.
That's right.
it's just crazy. But yeah, so that's 5, I guess.
Yeah.
I ran it. Maybe, well, John Wick, so that's 6.
That's 6. Want to add a 7th? I can't think of anything.
No.
Lucky number 11.
You can add the 7th.
Put it in the comments.